Up until just recently, console gamers have gotten the short end of the stick from DICE's shooters. With the release of Battlefield Bad Company, all of that changed. Realizing the potential in consoles, they soon announced work on a sequel to Bad Company and Battlefield 1943, a downloadable sequel of sorts to the beloved Battlefield 1942. For the second time, DICE is revisiting World War II, but is this tour of duty worth enlisting in? "1943 isn't your typical Battlefield title. Well, it is in most ways, but being downloadable brings with it some baggage that makes it a bit different. In order to make it more streamlined, much of the complexity of a typical Battlefield title has been stripped away, creating a more compact Battlefield experience. Players' ammunition and health replenish over time, negating the need for a medic or support class, leaving just 3 selections: the Infantryman, Rifleman, and Scout. It makes it different than the past few entries in the franchise, but most won't notice the omissions. At launch, 1943 players had access to 3 maps, all of which were remakes of some of the more popular Battlefield 1942 selections. Wake Island, Guadalcanal, and Iwo Jima were all available, each running the game's signature conquest mode, involving capturing bases. Using tanks, jeeps, planes, and boats, players attempt to capture and defend different locations, just as they did in 1942. A few days after launch, Coral Sea was unlocked, having players fight for air superiority in massive dogfights. It's chaotic, but a good deal of fun, providing a different enough experience from Conquest mode to deepen the game. It might seem like launching with 4 maps would be to the game's detriment, but for a downloadable title it's not really an issue. Even when dozens are available, players usually quickly find favorites. DICE just picked the best few ahead of time. Unlike the past few Battlefield titles, 1943 lacks any form of bot support or a single-player campaign. Instead, they don't even bother. The focus is squarely on multiplayer. When it was released, the massive influx of Battlefield players who purchased 1943 crippled the servers. Luckily, most of the problems have been fixed, making the game much easier to get into. With up to 24 players, the game is by no means the biggest Battlefield game, but it does a good job of portraying the heat of battle regardless. Some of the issues from Battlefield Bad Company, including the somewhat broken squad system, have been repaired. Joining friend squads is now a simple task, and finding them on the map is as easy as spawning on their location. Even though most fixes have gone through, lag can still be an issue in the game. Enemies will skip across the ground, dodging bullets and oncoming vehicles. Hopefully this will be fixed very soon, because it's one of the only blemishes on the otherwise incredible multiplayer. It's shocking how good 1943 looks. The 500 megabyte title is visually impressive, running on a modified version of the Frostbite engine. The bright blue skies and green foliage of the Pacific pop, giving the game a hyper-realistic appearance. Destructible environments are even better than they were in Bad Company, and most of the game's buildings can be leveled entirely. It doesn't lay a finger on Red Faction Guerrilla, but it adds a lot to the Battlefield gameplay. In many ways, the audio is as important as the visuals in 1943. It's vital to know where enemies are and where the gunshots are coming from. It's executed flawlessly, continuing DICE's lineage of providing some of the best sound effects and music in the industry. Battlefield 1943 is in no way a replacement for a normal Battlefield game. The lack of maps, limited player classes, low multiplayer cap, and lack of bot support keeps it from becoming the console Battlefield some hoped it would be. It's a miniature version, a smaller, quicker Battlefield, and one that is best suited as a downloadable title. Even with its faults, 1943 is absolutely worthy of a purchase. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better downloadable game this far in 2009. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the full text review on Gamervision.com.